G'day guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing, Sunday, December 15th, 2024, and yes, only 10 days to go until Christmas as I do a bit of a loop here with Neil. Decided to walk around the back of my legs as he tends to play up a little bit when I'm on the camera. I think he wants my full attention, but yeah, very warm one. You can see no hat today. I rushed out of the house, forgot my hat. Don't you hate that? Halfway down the road, and I thought, oh geez, forgot my hat. But anyway, but it is quite warm today, so I'll try and keep it in the shade. But what a 24 hours it's been in boxing. Wow. Talk about a roller coaster ride, the ups and downs and lefts and rights. Holy shit, what a 24 hours. So of course I'm referring to Sam Goodman and Jai Opetaia in there as well. Terramona as well. He had a win last night. I saw that. I actually didn't see the fight myself just yet, but he had a good win in Monte Carlo. But so Sam Goodman out of the in-away fight for now. So the incident occurred yesterday morning sparring. You would have seen him on Friday night at the fights. He looked full of beans and ready to go and looked quite excited about everything. And 12 hours later, his fight within a way has been postponed. So it was a pretty innocuous thing. I don't think, well, at this stage, we don't know exactly what caused it. I'm assuming it's a punch. We would have thought if it was a head clash, probably wouldn't have done much actually, because they've got the full face head guards on. Just somewhere in there, it looks like a punch has slipped through somehow, because those head guards are pretty good, and you know, it's the full face ones especially. It's very hard to penetrate. It's just one of those freak accidents. And his British sparring partner, and I can't remember his name, is the one that actually pointed it out. You can see when they're sparring. Again, look, I think it was in the third or fourth round that it happened, and his sparring partner says, "Look, you're bleeding." And you could just almost hear the thud of his heart, by the way, of just the bottom falling out of him, and his cornerman as well. Like dead silence for a couple of seconds. They knew what was happening. When you get cut, probably no matter how innocuous it is and how small it is, it's going to postpone the fight. This close. Maybe if it was a month out, they could say, all right, well, we could patch it up, ease him off from sparring for a week and a half, whatever, and he should be okay. And maybe have some some type of sparring that doesn't include him getting punched in the face. Maybe it's drills and whatever else it might be. But anyway, they can adjust. But 10 days out from the fight, it was never going to happen. And you could see that Sam, he walks off as a lot of boxers do. They walk away from everyone. They just need a few seconds to compose themselves and be alone. And he knew what was up, and they took the head guard off, and you could see the blood drip down his face. And I just thought, wow, just imagine what was going through his head. He was supposed to fly out today to Tokyo. Last spar, the very last spar, and it happens. Look, you would not wish it upon your worst enemy, and whether you think he's got a chance or not doesn't matter. I mean, the fact that the guy put in a solid camp, dedicated himself entirely to having or giving himself the best opportunity to win the fight. I think that gets sort of forgotten a little bit about everyone, the naysayers out there, me included. I haven't been really encouraged by his chances, but that's got nothing to do with it. I just felt so much for him, seeing the vision and what would have went through his mind and his cornerman's minds, I should say. They tried to be upbeat. I heard the cornerman or the cut man say, "Oh, it's not that bad." And look, it's not a bad enough cut to keep him out for an extended period of time. But it's one of those nuisance cuts that's just big enough this close to the fight to scrap it for now. And you just, again, you could almost hear that the dread in the room. They all knew what was up. And there's so many things would have been going through his head. I was really encouraged though later. He did a social media post. It was a quick one. He would have been absolutely devastated, but with everything going around the news cycle so quick, it got around like wildfire, so quick. And even though I sort of had a bit of a heads up what was happening, I was hoping it was not true, to be honest. And then it hit the main news channels, and that was it. So yeah, it's just devastating, and not just for Sam himself. I think he had 100 people or something going over there to support him. It's Christmas. A lot of them would have made all these plans. Sometimes you can't change flights or cancel flights unless you've got the right insurance. It's just, you know, and that would have been going through his mind as well. So he had the flights, they would have had to cancel the accommodation. They would have probably all been obviously looking forward to spending Christmas in Japan. And look, that's neither here nor there. It's, you know, it's about the you know, the incident itself. But yeah, you got to feel for Sam Goodman. But the good news is, of course, only a couple of hours later, and this is a credit to No Limit again, and also probably more importantly, the promoters overseas who've said, yes, no problem, we understand, we're going to put it back a month. So they could have easily said, no, we're going to try and get a late replacement, which would have been really hard this time of year, but they could have done it. They could have said, oh, look, we're going to put it off for a couple of months, whatever it might be. But geez, credit to all concerned. They've put it back 4 weeks. So just a fantastic result. And this is the thing, I think, after the dust has settled with Sam, the disappointment yesterday, that initial dread, the initial heartbreak, he and his team and his supporters and everything would have probably been feeling a lot better last night. They would have put it in perspective. I'm sure they would have sat down, maybe had a team dinner. They would have talked about what had happened, what was going to happen, and then really, I'm just assuming this, by the way, because I would think it would be the case, but they would sit down and say, all right, well, now we've got 4 weeks. Now let's look at rescheduling his training. What I think they will do is, and probably in a way as well, they would probably say, look, take the next 3 or 4 days off, just get away from the gym, clear your mind, go have something to eat. You know, he would have been bringing his weight down and everything else. Go and, yeah, just forget about boxing for 3 or 4 days, and then we will schedule our all our training and remodel it, I suppose, if that's what you want to call it. They would, because they're going to have to pull him back. They would have really been looking at him peaking on December 24, and now they've got to pull him back and reload and then make sure he peaks on January 24. So that's what I think will happen. They might even say take a week off. I don't know, maybe not, but I think in these situations, got to look at the good with the bad, and I'm sure they would be planning today, and they'd have a whole new schedule set out for when they go, obviously, to Japan, but also with all the training schedules when they pick up their sparring again. So I would say he would probably have 2 weeks off sparring, and then they'll really modify it, and maybe by then it's healed and they can pick it up a little bit after that. But so geez, it was looking all doom and gloom there for a while, because in a way, when you think about it, as I said, he could have easily just picked another opponent on short notice. Yeah, it wouldn't have been fantastic, but he's not thinking about the goodwill of Sam Goodman. He's thinking about, well, I'm ready to fight on December 24. Tickets are sold. It's a big event. Let's just get someone else in and just go with it. And then Sam will just have to wait his turn. Because I must admit, my first thoughts were, wow, this, and I did a video of this, you would have seen it on Instagram if you follow me there, that maybe the dream is over. Maybe they're just going to move on. Maybe he was going to take another fight. Maybe they were going to stretch it out so they didn't really have Sam in their plans, and then he'd eventually go to featherweight and the whole thing would be scuppered. Is that the word? Scuppered? But yeah, credit to all concerned. One, for No Limit for getting on the front foot and really working hard to get this rescheduled as soon as possible, and two, with the promoters over there, he said, no problem, we understand that shit happens, let's go again in 4 weeks time and reschedule the whole thing. So I just think overall it's been a win-win for everyone, and as I said, it was looking pretty bad early in the morning, or mid-morning, but all of a sudden we're back on track. The other news yesterday, of course, was Jai Opetaia. His opponent has pulled out Shinkara with a broken ankle. Not so much or as much bad news as the Sam Goodman one, because we would have seen, if you follow on the various social media channels, that Mick Francis did an interview and he pretty much shrugged his shoulders and said, look, this shit happens. He was actually feeling pretty bad for Shinkara, because he said, look, the guy's 40 years old, might not get another opportunity now because Jai's going to get another opponent. So they've got, about 3 weeks notice. So being a world champion himself, they'll find somebody. And Mick Francis didn't seem too concerned about finding somebody in that time. And I think they're going to announce the opponent as early as Monday, and also the undercard as well will be announced as well, or various portions of the undercard. So look, yeah, as I said at the start, what a roller coaster of a 24 hours, some ups and downs, and and everything else. And yeah, it just looks like it's going to work out. It's going to work out. And yeah, there was some, with the Sam Goodman fight, there were some naysayers that said, well, just he's got a stay of execution. I mean, it's been a bit harsh. That is being a bit harsh. People forget that these guys just dedicate their whole lives to the sport, and they have to. And I'm not sure what Sam Goodman's getting paid, but that payday could have been off the table as well. You've got to remember, he would have had all his camp expenses. So if he dropped that fight for whatever reason, he could have been tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket. So this is what people forget when they have their little say on social media and everything like that, of the implications that it has. Not to mention the poor people that have to reschedule and probably face those rescheduling charges and fees, or maybe they lose the money. I don't know, but there's lots of domino effects that come into it. And but as for Jai, at least he gets an opportunity. It's in Australia, so there's not as much. And he is the champion, so there's not as much at stake as Sam Goodman with everything. But as I said, I'm sure they'll find someone else for Jai, and he'll put on a great show on January the 8th. Who's it going to be? That's the next question. I'm not quite sure. I mean, there's been talk, maybe it's Zerdo, but there's no way Zerdo, I think, will be ready to go in 3 weeks' time. He's obviously just fought a few weeks back, so I doubt that. But they'll find someone. I don't think it'll be... I have a feeling it won't be a top liner. It'll just be someone in the top 10 or top 15 who they can just get in on short notice and, yeah, keep the title fight on track. And on the undercard, Justice Honey will be making an appearance, which is great. He was fighting, was it Sean somebody, Potglieb or something, I think his name was? I don't know, South African. So I've never heard of this guy, but he's 10-1, I think he is. So look, it's just another keep busy fight for Justice, and I don't mind it. I know everyone goes straight to BoxRec and has a look at these opponents, but I did have a look. Hasn't really fought anyone, to be honest, but look, I just like the fact that Justice is backing up, 3.5 weeks later after his fight from last week, and just trying to keep busy in the second half of 2024 and start of 2025, and then really kick into 2025 in good fashion. So you would think that the plans, if they're backing Justice up so quick, would be to maybe get 3 or 4 fights under his belt next year, and then maybe in 2026 really start to take on one of those opponents that could maybe get him a world title shot. So yeah, some big things on the horizon next year for the Aussies, and even though we've ended 2024, we're in a little bit of heartbreak. I think we're going to start 2025 in style, because we're going to have Sam and Jai in world title fights in January, and other fighters are going to make the moves as well. One is I'm going to see today is Andrew Maloney. He's back in action at the Melbourne Pavilion. He's fighting as a Thai, Muljan Gowan, I think his name is. I don't know too much about him, but no matter what it is, it's just strictly a comeback fight, or get back in the swing of things type of fight for Andrew. I did speak to him during the week, and it must be hard for him. He didn't say it, but I mean, I probably said it for him. It's sometimes that the sport can be so cruel in that, you look at a year or so ago, he's fighting at the MGM Grand against Nakatani. Earlier in the year, he's fighting Gulvara in Perth on the Cambosis, and Lomachenko on the card, and now he's fighting at the Melbourne Pavilion on a Sunday afternoon, and going back to those dreaded days of trying to sell tickets and tables and chasing people up for money and all that sort of stuff. And trust me, I've been through it with him and others, so I do feel for him. But I think he realises that he's just it's one of those couple of steps backwards to take a couple of steps forward type of things, and I think he understands the drill and where he's at. He's been around a long time, so I would think that he just sees it as an opportunity to get back in the rankings. I think he did say that they're going to pursue the IBF belt. So I can't remember who it was that held that belt, but looks like I think there's a couple of fighters fighting for the vacant belt, and I didn't catch who it was, but he's going to target those guys, or target the winner, and hopefully next year he gets his shot at another belt as well and has one final run at it. He did, I think I said on one of my videos the other day, that he has actually been mandated to fight Chocolatito Gonzalez for the WBC interim title. Now, I don't think that fight's going to happen. There was no mention of that from anything I've seen or heard. But that was one of the things that come out of the WBC convention, that that Andrew and Chocolatito have been mandated to fight for for the interim title, but as I said, I don't think that's going to happen, both sort of going in different directions. I know Andrew would probably take that fight, but I've got a feeling that Chocolatito, if he comes back, will probably just fight Bam Rodriguez, and that would be it, you would think. So that is it, guys. I'm going to head back, try and keep out of the sun for a little bit, because I can't believe, again, I forgot my hat. But yeah, get freshened up today, get a bit of work done, and then head down to the pavilion for I was going to say the night of fights, actually the day of fights. I think Andrew might be on at about 6, but I think they have corporate events, corporate fights and all this stuff during the day. It starts at 1 o'clock, so I'll get there a little bit later on. But that is it for today, guys. Give me your thoughts as always down below, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.